Right now, deep under the ocean, there are creatures swimming in total darkness, miles below the waves. There are flat ones the size of a dinner plate and long ones the size of a bus. And every single one of them is a fish. Hello, my friend. Today we are going to talk about fish. And the first thing I want you to know is that fish were the very first animals on Earth to have a backbone. The very first ones. Hundreds of millions of years ago, long before any creature ever walked on land, the only animals with spines lived in the water. And they were all fish. And here is the special part. Those ancient fish, the very early ones, are the great-great-great. You would have to say great about 10 million times. They are the great-great-grandparents of every animal with a backbone today. Including you, your spine that you can feel running down your back, that comes way deep down in time from fish. We all do. So what is a fish? Let's go through the checklist. First, a fish lives its whole life in the water, from egg to baby to grown-up. No tadpole stage where it climbs out. Fish stay wet always. Second, a fish breathes with gills. A fish doesn't have lungs. Instead, it pulls water in through its mouth, pushes that water past special feathery little flaps on the sides of its head. Those are the gills, and the gills pull oxygen right out of the water. Then the water flows out the sides. So when you see a fish opening and closing its mouth, it isn't just looking weird. It is breathing. Third, fish are cold-blooded, like reptiles and amphibians. Their body temperature matches the water around them. And fourth, fish have fins. Fins for steering, fins for swimming, fins for stopping. Most fish are covered in tiny overlapping scales, and almost all of them have a special sense organ that you and I do not have. It is called the lateral line. It runs along the side of a fish's body, and it lets the fish feel the tiniest movements in the water around it, almost like a sixth sense. A fish can tell, without looking, when something is swimming nearby. That is how a whole school of fish can suddenly all swerve at the same moment, in the same direction. They are feeling each other. There are two big kinds of fish. Bony fish, like the goldfish or the salmon, have skeletons made of regular bones like ours. And then there are cartilage fish, like sharks and stingrays. Their skeletons are made of soft, bendy stuff called cartilage, the same stuff that is in the tip of your nose. Imagine if your whole skeleton was made of squishy nose stuff. That is a shark. There are more kinds of fish in the world than all the mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians combined. Combined, over 30,000 kinds. Fish are the biggest group of animals with backbones, by far. Okay, let's meet some. First, one of the most charming fish in the sea, the seahorse. A seahorse, of course, is shaped like a tiny horse, with a curly tail, a long snout, and a body covered in little bony plates. They are very small. Most seahorses are about as long as your finger. And seahorses are terrible swimmers. They are some of the slowest fish in the entire ocean. They don't dart and dash like other fish. They mostly just curl their tails around a piece of grass and gently sway back and forth in the water. But here is the wild thing about seahorses. The dad has the babies. Yes, the dad. The mother seahorse gives her eggs to the father. He tucks them into a special pouch on his belly. He carries them around for a few weeks, growing inside him. And then, when they are ready, hundreds of tiny baby seahorses come tumbling out into the sea. A fish dad, giving birth. In the whole animal kingdom, that almost never happens. It is one of nature's beautiful little exceptions. Now, let's go from one of the smallest and slowest fish to one of the largest and fastest, the great white shark. A great white shark can grow over 20 feet long. That is as long as a school bus. It has rows and rows and rows of teeth. When one tooth falls out, another rolls forward to take its place. A great white shark goes through thousands of teeth in its lifetime. But here is something I want you to know. Sharks have a kind of scary reputation from movies and stories, but sharks are actually very important. They are the great cleanup crew of the ocean. They keep everything else in balance. Without sharks, the seas would be in serious trouble. And sharks have been around for an unimaginably long time. There were sharks before there were trees. Let that sink in for a second. Before there were any trees on Earth, before any plant grew taller than your knee, there were already sharks in the ocean. Sharks have been swimming the seas for over 400 million years. They are older than the dinosaurs. They have survived 5 different times when most other animals on Earth died. When you look at a shark, you are looking at one of the oldest, most successful designs nature has ever come up with. Okay, last fish, and this one lives in the dark. Way, way down in the deep ocean, miles below the surface, where no sunlight ever reaches, lives an animal called the anglerfish. The anglerfish is not pretty. Let me just tell you that up front. It has a huge head, a big sad-looking mouth full of long, sharp teeth, and a fat, blobby body. But it has the most incredible trick. Sticking up out of the top of its head, like a little fishing pole, is a long stalk. And on the end of that stalk is a tiny ball of light. That little ball glows in the dark. The anglerfish made that light all by herself inside her own body, with special bacteria that live in the bulb. And down there in the deep, deep dark, that little glowing ball is the only light around. Curious fish swim toward it like a moth to a candle, and when they get close, snap, the anglerfish gobbles them right up. She is fishing, with her own glowing lure, in total darkness, a mile under the sea. The ocean is full of wonders like that. Fish that glow, fish that fly, fish that walk on the bottom with stubby little fins like feet, fish that can blow themselves up like a balloon, fish that hide as plants, fish bigger than a whale shark, and fish so small you would need a magnifying glass. And every single one of them, every fin, every gill, every scale is part of the same gigantic story. The story that started long, long ago, when the very first animal with a backbone wiggled through the warm sea, and eventually, gave rise to all of us. Next time, we are going to leave the water behind, and we are going to count legs, because we are going to meet a group of animals so big, so successful, so absolutely everywhere, that for every one of you, there are more than 1 billion of them. We are going to meet the insects. Until then, my friend, the next time you look at a fish in a tank or a pond, give it a little nod. From one backbone to another, we are family. Way, way back. Goodbye for now.